What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the snake room. Welcome back to the snake room. Hopefully everybody's having an awesome day, and I appreciate everybody that's coming through on my channel and taking the time out of your day to check out some of my snakes. And today we're going to be feeding some of the snakes, so should be pretty exciting. I know you guys like watching the feeding videos. Spent a couple hours in here today just cleaning everything up, and hopefully it stays clean for a little bit. I know I pulled off a lot of tubs off of here and set them on top of Mountain Dew's little area, just because these are the ones that I'm going to be feeding. I know I say this a lot, but I already made a mess just pulling off some stuff, but I pull one snake out and the carpet is covered with bedding. So before we start the feeding, and this will be one snake that I am going to be feeding today, I don't show her off nearly as much as she deserves. And this is my California king snake. She was my very first snake that I ever bought and that I've ever owned in my entire life, which was about 5 years ago. 5-ish, maybe a little bit longer than that, but she's actually really nice. She's never bit me. She's never tried to eat my fingers, which I see a lot of king snakes trying to do, probably just because they have a ridiculously strong feeding response. But I did put some enrichment in a couple of the cages that didn't have anything, and then I need to put more in a few other cages, but I know they probably don't get anything from this at all, but it looks a little nicer, and if they want to hide under it or climb through it, they can. So they're fine without it, but who knows? Maybe she'll enjoy it. I don't know. All right, she's looking good. And we will, let's feed the king snake first. All right, let's see if she'll eat the weaned rats. Normally she's pretty good about, there we go. I didn't think she was going to take it at first, but here we go. I really like how she coils her rats. It seems each species or each different snake that I do have kind of does it a little bit differently on the wraps, which is interesting. But she just got her by the foot, acting like she's killing it. And we will move on to my jungle pastel. And I need a new light because I think this one is dying. I'll charge it and I'll leave the light on, and like 5 minutes later the battery is completely drained, even though I charge it until the green light's on, saying that it is fully charged. So I'm not sure. I mean, it was like $20 light on Amazon, so I really should not have expected too much out of it. So I added a branch and on this one, then I just wrapped the vines around it. I don't have a hide really for a lot of my snakes. I find some of them use it, some of them don't use it, but it is what it is. So this is a little high, so not really sure how this is going to be in the light. And I am still feeding her smaller sized mice, which I probably won't move her up into any rats for at least another year. So definitely pleased with how she is behaving and how her colors are turning out as she's getting older. I don't want to mess with her too much, but she's actually a really, really good feeder. All right, shuffling bins around, and my Guyana redtail right here is on adult mice. I believe she is on hoppers, and how old is she? So she's a 2017 and still on mice. I won't switch her over to rats probably for a very, very long time. I'm just pleased that she is eating well and getting over the little hurdles that we had with her earlier last year when she wasn't eating for me. So I think her growth was, I'm not going to say stunned, but it was definitely slowed down a lot. So she's got a long time before she's going to be big, which is fine because I kind of like her that size. So I kind of like all my snakes small, to be honest with you. They're just a lot easier to maintain and care for, and they're just easier to hold and spend time with. So we will watch the progress on these two. While we move down the line, we have 2 more to feed, my Motley, and then we'll get into the Burmese, which I also added some enrichment to her cage. Although in the next year, I don't think she's going to be climbing around very much because she'll be pretty large. I need to get her maybe a stick and some vines. She might like that, or she might not, but it will look a lot nicer. So I have been feeding her weaned rats for the last couple meals. I took out one of these small rats that I had in the bag, and it was way thicker than any part of her body. So I think I'm just going to stick with the weaned rats for a couple more months to see how she grows, and if she sheds out a couple more and then she gets a little bit bigger, then we'll see what happens with moving her up to the small rats. She is kind of eating it, but not quite. So moving on to, yikes, my lamp does not go that far. Moving on to the Burmese. And she is on, so she took a rat pup with 0 issues last time. And this is the little branch that I got out of the backyard and wrapped it up. So the rat pup barely left a lump in her, and so the weaned rat, which is surprising because the Motley is taking wean with no problems, and this is, she's was born in November 2019, and this weaned rat looks like it would be the perfect size. So we'll see what happens. And whoa, that was interesting. Swing and a miss. There we go. Perfect. So maybe wean rats would be good for her. And now that I'm moving her up on the wean rats, I'm wondering if I should take her off the 9-10 day feeding schedule and move her to a 14-day schedule. But we'll just see how her growth is going and seeing the how she's responding to food, I guess. So strong feeding response, which is awesome. Really don't want her to ever refuse food, so we'll just leave that open, let her do what she needs to do because she's getting distracted. Nobody's really chowing down yet. I bet my king snake is done with her meal. Almost. King snakes do not play around when it comes to food, that's for sure. I always do try to watch all of my snakes eat until they're completely done with their meals, especially when they're on bedding, because I don't want them to ingest too much of it and have like the bedding go into their mouths weird or anything like that. So if they start having an issue, then I'll just take my pliers and I'll just pull the bedding away from their mouth or out of their mouth as they're eating. So far I haven't had any snakes get startled by that, or I wouldn't really say regurgitate their meal, but definitely spit it back up halfway through and just ignore it. So definitely a good sign. All right, let's try to get this GoPro on the stand. I really wish GoPros had a zoom feature. She is pretty much done with that, and I was over here looking at Isabella, and she is definitely chowing down. She's almost done. So as I was saying earlier, we had a little bit of some rough patches with her eating and actually holding food down last year, and she got down to a pretty scary weight, and she's doing much better now. So I'm not power feeding or overfeeding her to try to get her back up to weight. We're just slowly taking our time together and eating, and the process in itself will work over time. Like, she will eventually put on the weight she needs. She'll get this to the size she needs, even if it takes 4 or 5 years longer than what probably it normally would take. I mean, I'm perfectly okay with that. So I really want to have her for 15 years, 20 years, however long they actually last. So beautiful red tail on her, nice markings, nice saddles. Definitely pleased that she is back to normal and eating the way she should. And the king is done. So the Motley takes forever. She probably will be like that for 20 minutes. My jungle over here, she's all confused. She still has it by the neck. It's gonna take her a while to figure that out. So she'll get it. She's a little uneasy right now, probably because I'm shoving the camera in her face. The Burmese is doing well. Looks like she's starting which is good. And it looks like she's already, there she goes. She's got to uncoil because she was starting to get her teeth around her body. But it's actually looking like that weaned rat's going to be a really good size for her for hopefully a while. Well, I won't say a while. Maybe a month or two. Alright everybody, that is it. I had to swap cameras because for some reason my GoPro said it was overheating, which doesn't make any sense. But I've heard GoPros do have that issue. And so you can kind of see the lump in her, which is obviously going to be pretty massive because she just ate. And she's obviously still looking for some food. But after a couple hours that should go down. And I think that will be her scheduled meal from now on. And I think a lot of my big boas are definitely looking for some food. So everybody has ate or is still eating, and we'll see if the king actually finished. So just to make sure. Yep, she's done. Alright guys, I appreciate the support. Appreciate everybody taking the time to watch my videos and comment. And hopefully you guys have an awesome night. And I'll see you guys on the next video.